guys, what is going on? So figured I'll post another video in regards to what we're going to be doing to the Civic today, this Civic to be exact. Perhaps the past couple days I've been doing some things with it. The last video I discussed that there was some rot problems in the floor that needed to be addressed, and I went ahead, I took out the interior, and just so that way I can see exactly what I need to get for parts. So basically there's the front floor. I was talking about it all being rotted out. We also have the back floor that also needs some attention. So truthfully, what I was thinking is I'm probably honestly just gonna go to the junkyard and find a Civic this year with solid floors on the side, basically like cut it out and then pretty much just weld it into this car. Only for the simple fact that I have tried to find a new floor pan for it, but unfortunately they only sell all 4 of them because it's all one big piece, and I found it was like 530 bucks, but unfortunately the shipping was also an additional $600, and I truthfully that's more than the car is honestly worth. And a better look at the trunk as well. I got everything removed. I originally personally thought it was just the spare tire section right here that needed to be replaced, which it was no biggie because I have in my mind like what I'm going to do to fix this portion of it. Basically there's pretty much going to be no more spare tire space for it by the end of it. But over here I had no idea about. That's definitely I'm gonna address that, take care of that. The same with the inner fender well as well, and the same thing over here too. So when it comes to the inner fender wells and all of that, what I ended up deciding to do was I basically marked out on the rear quarter on where I'm gonna end up cutting it. So basically this section right here is basically going to be all cut out, and then I'm going to end up going to the junkyard, finding one with solid rear quarters, and I'm going to end up welding them in, just because there is some rot or rust forming down here. And truthfully I could clean it up and maybe get like some high build primer or whatever to like prevent any rust to like come back or whatever, or prevent it to even get worse. But it's realistically I'd rather just replace it. And plus, not to mention too, if I gotta do the whole rear quarter, like the inner wheel well work as well, I might as well just go ahead and take care of the outer quarter panel as well. So as far as today, I can't really do much as far as going to the junkyard right now, just because I still have I gotta actually go get my license back. I'm able to actually get it back, but I just gotta find the time to actually get a ride out to go get it. And so basically I'm gonna take care of that in a couple days. But as far as today, I'm very big on if I have something I could be doing to the car, I'm gonna do it, and I just hate sitting around wasting time. So basically I had ordered it's a shifter that I had ended up ordering like I'd say about a year and a half ago, and I just never had the motivation to like really put it in, just for the simple fact of what I'm probably gonna have to go through in order to take care of it. Usually right where the shifter is located, it's located right above the exhaust, and typically you can unbolt a section of the exhaust and you'll be all set. But with this car specifically, it's one solid exhaust from the header all the way down to the muffler. So I basically gotta unbolt it right at the bottom of the header, right here, and pretty much lower down the whole exhaust. Which I gotta take the exhaust off anyways in order to, you know, take care of the shifter. Plus also I gotta take the exhaust off as well because there's a major exhaust leak, and underneath you can see that the exhaust, right at where there used to be a flex pipe, is basically hanging on by hopes and dreams. So I'm just gonna take that off, but as you can see, it is solid all the way back, and the shifter portion of it that I need to get to is right here. And this car's been in New England its entire life, so as you can see, it's not exactly gonna be fun to take care of. So as you can see, so like there's a bushing like right in the bottom of the shifter right here, and when it's in gear there's still play as if you're in neutral, which is due to that. So that's why I ended up buying a replacement shifter. As I said on my previous video as well, with this side of the car, you know, I did try to do a temp fix with Bondo, but I'd rather not really, you know, try to make a rear quarter angle with the Bondo, just because it's not really my cup of tea to, you know, be fabricating with Bondo. So I'd rather just get a whole, you know, this section of the rear quarter welded in, and then basically only use like a little bit of like body icing to, like, you know, go like around like where it's welded and whatnot. So with that being said, what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna I still have yet to get a tripod, which I'm gonna end up getting a tripod within like the next week or two, so it would be easier to, like, you know, have a better camera angle or whatever. But I'm gonna try to find a spot. I'm gonna prop up my phone, put on some time lapse, and I'll get to work. The other thing too, before I do forget to mention, like I have in like the past video of this car, the other rot that is on this car is right behind the front fenders. Basically, I don't know if you call them fender braces or inner fenders or whatever you want to call them, but basically right here, as you can see, it's like tack welded right here, and luckily it's only just this piece that is rotted out, so I will actually be able to get away with actually, like, you know, drilling out the spot welds and getting everything all squared away. The same thing also as the driver's side. This side is also rotted out right behind the front fender. So it's gonna be relatively fun, but I'm sure we'll find a way to, you know, fix it. I always find some way to fix something. So
but Hollywood sold out. So all of the saints locked up the gates. I could not enter. I walked into the flames, called out your name, but there was no answer. And now I know my heart even goes down. Now I know my heart even.
alright, so the exhaust, I was planning on actually taking the whole thing out from underneath the car, but I ended up getting it, you know, off the hangers and whatnot. But back here where it's welded, it's usually supposed to be bolted right there, and I'm assuming they ended up fitting the exhaust up to the car and just welding it as is. So, you know, there's not enough room for me to sneak it through the on top of the lower control arm. So I just basically dropped it down as far as it can go on the ground, and it opened up some access for me to get underneath here and actually work with, you know, getting the shift linkage out. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll take the shift linkage out of the car and just, you know, work on it like out from the car, just so that it's easier and I'm not, you know, really trying to do this pain in the ass on my back. And at the same time too, we'll also like clean it up and maybe spray some matte black on it just to make it look a little bit better. So let's get back to working on the rust bucket.
And garden dreams deep, but Hollywood sold out. So all of the saints locked up the gates. I could not enter. I walked into the flames, called out your name, but there was no answer. And now I know my heart is a ghost town. Now I know my heart is a ghost town. And now I know.
The other thing too that's cool about I've already replaced shift linkage bushings like quite a few years ago, back when I lived at my dad's house, but I do gotta replace them again anyways. But anyways, usually right here, right in the spot of the shift linkage where it connects to the transmission, there's usually like a small little pin that sits flush in there, and people usually call it the bitch pin, in which I ended up finding out an easy way, instead of, you know, like if you ever do replace, you know, anything with your shift linkage, if you get to replace transmission or anything and you get a fight to get that out, there is an easy solution to that I use. Basically just nut and bolt it. It's usually a 12 mil, and it's a lot easier and a lot simpler to, you know, work with. But all right, let's finish getting this thing out.
And garden dreams deep, but Hollywood sold out. So all of the saints locked up the gates. I could not enter. I walked into the flames, called out your name, but there was no answer. And now I know my heart is a ghost town. Now I know my heart is a ghost town. And now I know my heart is a ghost town.
I'm sure you're probably sitting there like, oh, what's taking them so long? There's two nuts back here that obviously have seen better days, and basically they're 10 mil, and I put like a regular 6-point socket on it, but it was just stripping it. So luckily I have a couple of the extractor sockets that you can like pretty much hammer on, and it has like little teeth that basically grab onto it. So I got it to end up, you know, I got it cracked loose, but the problem that I'm just dealing with right now is on the back side right here. There's like a little stud that goes through, and basically just trying to hold it in place with my channel locks. I do have vice grips, but they're in my girlfriend's car, the purple SI, just because the hood latch on her car ended up breaking. So she's got to like jump start a car or something, which would be a little hard because the jump pack is actually home with me and she's actually at work. But it basically so she can grab onto like the hood latch and pull it if she's gonna open it at all. But as you can see, this isn't exactly perfectly round anymore, so it's a good idea that, you know, I'm getting it or having it replaced or replacing it. But all right, we're gonna go back to a time lapse and gonna continue fighting with this thing. So I'm still fighting with it. I just decided I'm just gonna cut out the studs only because, you know, I'm just gonna put a nut and bolt through it on both sides. And shout out to my upstairs neighbor. He brought down some power tools that I can actually get that cut out with. So we're gonna get this all squared away and then we'll tune back in. Alright, so I finally got it off. It didn't go as planned, but we're just gonna work with what we got. So basically this piece right here goes right on the back of this. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand. Basically, it sits in there like that. And there was studs that went through this side, and I just ended up cutting them out. I was gonna use an angle grinder, but my brother-in-law, he actually has my angle grinder at the moment, and he's actually currently at work, so I'm not able to get it at the moment. But my upstairs neighbor, he had a circular saw that I just made do. I know it, you know, it did chew up part of right here, and it is what it is. I mean, as I said in previous videos, I'm gonna have a whole new different setup that's gonna be going in the car anyways. So this is just a temporary thing. I'm not gonna leave this in the car for, like, you know, years or a year or whatever. It's just, you know, it's temporary. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these things all, I'm gonna get the linkage all cleaned up. Just probably spray it with a little bit of paint just to, like, make it look semi-okay. But we'll get to it. Alright, so I got the shift linkages. I just hung them up on the garage door. I used the just cheap, you know, satin black, and pretty much went over them, sprayed them. They don't look too pretty, but better than, you know, the whole rust look. There is a couple runs, I know. It's literally, you know, like I said, it's only temporarily. So, but while these dry, we gotta go find a couple nuts and bolts. Alright guys, I know this is a little bit of a longer video, or actually I don't even know honestly how long it is yet. But we're downstairs in the basement. We're gonna look for a couple nuts and bolts to replace those studs that were in that shifter linkage. Just because it'll be a lot easier. So I figured I'd give you a little bit of a tour of the basement. That's all of my body panels, bumper, and whatnot from the black Civic. More interior pieces. See, got a Skunk 2 manifold that my brother gave me as a present for my car. Spare D-Series transmission. I got the blown up K20 Z3 tranny from my fiance's car. We got some BMW F15 wheels. I only got 3 of them. Those are for sale if you know anybody. They're 19-inch. And here is I got my shelf of Civic parts. Up here I got all, that is Ford transmission fluid, actually. That's oil additives. Got a gauge cluster. I got spare headlights for my fiance's car. The old trunk that came off of my car. Spare taillights that came out of my parts car. My old headlight from my car. Got an oil brake clean, brake fluid. Spare belt for my girlfriend's car, her AC compressor, because it has an AC delete. Back there we got my old ECU from when I had the Y5 in my car. Spare fuse box from my parts car, radiator, fan. I have more interior pieces back there in a wheel well, and I have like the A-pillar pieces, the trim. In here I have spare wheel bearings for the front of my car. Down here we got the console that goes to my car on top, and then the one on the bottom was out of my parts car, which is from a 96 to a 98. We got 96 to 98 fenders. We got the rear trim for a 96 to 98 coupe. And then in here is pretty much like just miscellaneous. Hoping this is where I can find my nuts and bolts. And basically it's got a whole bunch of random shit in here. Power steering pump, jumper cables, my old clutch disc. So yeah, it's not much. A lot of I guess you can say hoarding or whatever of Civic parts. But I'm gonna try to find some nuts and bolts and get back outside. Alright guys, so I tried to look for nuts and bolts, and unfortunately I thought I had spare nuts and bolts for my parts car, in which I did, but when we ended up moving, I think I actually honestly left those behind. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is I'm gonna end up probably ending the video for right now, and I'll post it so that way you guys have something to watch. But I'm going to be going to the junkyard sometime, hopefully next week, and I'll probably just grab a couple nuts and bolts from the shifter linkage off of one of the cars there. But these finally ended up drying. They came out alright, I guess, you know, a lot better than like the whole rusted aspect or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. This is taking a lot longer than it really should have. A lot of people usually like buy these things like off of a marketplace on Facebook or something, or eBay, just because, you know, I'm sure they go through the same shit, and it's just a lot easier just to replace the whole thing, because they are relatively cheap, just because of, you know, between being a D series and all that, everything's cheap. But what I'll probably just do right now, just to like get it so I can move around the yard, is I'll honestly probably just use like a couple of zip ties temporarily until I can get over to the junkyard to get the nuts and bolts that I need. But that'll be a separate video. I'm going to be going to the junkyard to go get the body panels that I need in order to fix the rot and rust or all of that. So I'm going to stop at like Home Depot or something. I'm going to pick up a couple things of sheet metal. Pretty much it's going to be an interesting video. Like I said before, I'm going to end up learning how to weld on this car, so it may not look perfect, but you know, I like to try new things. So that being said, we'll catch you in the next video. Have a good day.